Hi guys, I'm Dr. Mioka on Retracing My Africa Diaspora version. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about high and low case numbers. This video is specifically for individuals that won the DV lottery 2025 and also maybe in the future who don't really know a lot about case numbers and are interested in figuring out where they may lie on this case number ranges and if they are likely to get an opportunity for an interview at the US Embassy in their country or country of residence or not. Okay, that's what this video is about. So if you're interested in this kind of information, you are welcome. Karibu sana. Okay, so now guys, for me to tell you about your case number, if you're lying in the safe region or not, I must begin by explaining, very simply in layman's terms, possibly, how the DV lottery works. Okay, I was a participant. I won my green card, and that's why I'm in the US right now. So I'm coming here to share information with the hopes that it might help somebody out there who's really just wondering what's going on. And I'm going to speak directly to an applicant. I'm sure there's somebody out there who needs this information desperately. So if it is you, listen keenly. Yeah, maybe you heard that you had won the green card, then you got a welcome letter from the US State Department, from Kentucky Consular Center. They're the ones who write these letters. So maybe they wrote you a letter informing you that you've been randomly selected for entry into the program, and they have given you information about the next steps, like filling in your DS-260 and so forth. And at the end of that letter, you see details concerning you, like your case number, yeah, that you will be needing to be able to do your DS-260 and anything that has to do with your application for the green card. Okay, now you're looking at this number and you're wondering, because it's like you don't know if this is a good or bad case number. Yeah, that's also what happened to me. I found myself in a similar situation and I didn't know whether this was a good or bad case number. Yeah, so I'm here to help you. Okay, you look at your number, you don't know what this is, what implications it has for you and your application for the green card. Now, you see, the US State Department, when they have done the lottery and completed and made a decision on who they've randomly selected, what they do, they create this master list, a master list of a whole long line of many people that were randomly selected per region. And per region, I mean regions like Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Oceania, all these. They are categorized in regions, and so you have this long list of people who are going to be waiting to be interviewed for their visas for the green card. So they place you, all of you, whatever region you are. In this case, I'm talking about Africa region. So they'll place you on a master list, and you're going to be waiting basically for an opportunity to be made available. Now, what the KCC, the Consular Center, does at the Kentucky office, what it does is that they collaborate very closely with US embassies around the world. Yeah, so the US Embassy or Post will let them know when a slot is available within their embassy for them to be able to interview somebody. Okay, that's how it works. So once the availability is there, they will communicate with KCC and let them know, okay, in the month of January, we have 30 slots available for DV winners to be able to be interviewed. They will communicate this information to the respective, to KCC. KCC, remember KCC has that master list I talked about? They will look at the master list and they will basically select those 30 individuals that need to be sent to that embassy. Maybe it's Nairobi embassy that need to be sent to that embassy for the month of January. But they're not just randomly selecting these individuals. People have already been randomly assigned numbers from like number 1 to 10,000, 10,000 to 20,000, etc., etc. So, the early numbers, the lower numbers, those are the first ones to be forwarded to the respective, embassies, whether it's in Nairobi, like I said, or Dar es Salaam or Kigali, or whatever. Yeah, so those numbers are going to be sent there. And so every month, you're going to have that back and forth between KCC and the respective embassies, communicating these details, and then KCC doing the list, sending over the prospective interviewees details and files, something like that. So now, once KCC sends this information, they at the same time communicate with you, the applicant. If you are on a list that has already been forwarded to the embassy, they will communicate to you to let you know that you need to go and check your entrance status check, that portal. You need to go into that portal, and in that portal, because they don't do this over the email, so they just do it only in the portal. So when you go to the portal, where you got the same portal where you got your letter, the first welcome letter, now you'll find another letter. This letter is going to be telling you that your interview is due such and such a day and month and year. Of course, it's going to be that same fiscal year. And so you'll have to start getting yourself ready. Get your medicals out of the way, get whatever final supporting documents you need to get, so that you can then prepare to go to the embassy for your interview. All right. So now that's how the process works. So now every month you have this back and forth between the embassies, but at the same time, the State Department also publishes what you call cutoff numbers. So you see, every month they will be publishing data that helps us know who is most likely getting scheduled to go for an interview. So for example, in per region, okay? So Africa region, like I said, and these other world regions. So now in Africa, for example, maybe at the beginning, maybe like, let's say, I'm just going to give a random month, guys. Let's say it's October. Yeah, around that time is when I think they usually start. So October, they may publish and say the cutoff number is 10,000. What that cutoff number is, it's that cutoff number indicates that any number below the number they have published is getting scheduled. Yeah, pretty much. So if, let's say, they say it's 10,000, that October of 2023, the cutoff number is 10,000. If they say that, then it means if your number lies between number 1 and number 9,999, you're getting scheduled. So you need to almost be getting like ready for a possible interview at the US Embassy. That's kind of like how the process is. So every month they are publishing. So October, November, then the new year begins. Then January, it starts going all the way until that fiscal year ends. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to say here. That's what I'm thinking. I don't have a script. So now, guys, I'm going to give myself an example as well. And there's a reason why I'm giving an example. There are some mistakes I made. I don't want you to make those mistakes. So now my notification, actually, when they send you that letter, it's called the 2NL, the second notification letter. Most people usually just say the 2NL. Then you'll know that it's the second notification letter. So what happened is that I didn't prepare myself at all. I was green to this process. I didn't know nothing. So guess what, guys? I didn't prepare myself. And by preparation, I mean, I hadn't done my vaccinations. I was just like, I don't know if I want to do these vaccines. I'm just really having second thoughts about it. And time is moving. So time moves. I have not done my vaccines. I still have some documents that I'm missing. I'm just, taking my time because, I'm buying time waiting to hear from the US Embassy because I don't know if my number is good. I have a good number, but because nobody told me that this is a good number, I didn't know it was a good number. So I kept on thinking, I don't want to go and spend money on vaccines and all this paperwork and then only at the last minute to be told now there is no interview for you. Because the previous year in 2023, that happened to some applicants. So I didn't want to be a victim of that. That's why I was holding back. But my number was in the 20,000s. It was a very good number. I just didn't know. So at the last minute, when the US Embassy sent me notification, the 2NL, guess who was running like a headless chicken? I was running around looking for this document, that document, my vaccines. It was a whole mess. So let me spare you guys by telling you this narrative so you know right now whether you have a good or bad case number. take, I don't know, they will not start publishing those, they call them visa bulletins, where you can see per month who is going to be scheduled for interviews. That's going to start, I believe, in October of this fiscal year, this upcoming fiscal year, DV-2025. That's when they'll start publishing. So you need to be looking very closely at those visa bulletin publications, so you know when your number is coming up. But you also don't want to wait until the number closer to your rank is being published, because then that will be too late. You will not be able to have enough time to do all of what you need to do to prepare for your interview. So I highly recommend, guys, that you begin this process early, yeah, particularly if you have a low case number. Now, this is where the question is, do you have a low case number? Do you have a high case number? This is a very critical question. Now, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but guys, most people in the Africa region, because we usually have very high case numbers, if you have a low case number, our case numbers go all the way to 100,000 or 100,000 K, okay? So if you have a case number between number 1 and say around 50,000, I would say, based on past data, that may be considered a safe region, a safe region, if I can use that language. But if you have over 50K, it starts to go towards the not so safe. But if you get to 60s and 70s and 80s, the situation, the probability even diminishes, yeah? But not to disappoint you, every year does its own thing. So I don't want to disappoint anybody, yeah. So don't get worried about anything and start thinking you're not going to get into the program. I'm looking at my notes, because I was looking at some data, guys, that might be useful for you. I compiled some data just randomly myself, just by hand. This was for DV-2023 and DV-2024, which I was a participant of, DV-2024. So I wanted to see what the numbers looked like for DV-2023 and 2024 and how they compared, so that I can really have an idea of what is a good case number and what is a bad case number. Bad in quotes, in that maybe is your number going to be up for an interview or not? That's what I mean. Okay, so guys, in October and November of these 2 years, yeah, 2023, October and November, in those both years had the same cutoff number. What I mean is that the cutoff numbers remained the same. In 2023, the cutoff number was 5,700. In 2024, which was my year, it was 10,000 in October and also in November. So that means we didn't see much movement, because the embassy was still trying to maybe address, I don't know, maybe some backlog and other categories of visas possibly. And then in December is when we began to see a little bit of a movement. In 2023, the number jumped up from 5,700 to 9,000. And then corresponding number in 2024 for the month of December was 11,000. So as the months were moving, the Nairobi embassy, was increasing the number of the cutoff number was increasing. And in fact, for 2023, it seemed like the cutoff number was slightly higher than 2024. So those guys, so if I just look at this data, and I can't read all of it to you, but guys, by April of both in both of those years, 2024 and 2023, by April, between 45,000 and 50,000, those are the numbers. Those are the numbers that the embassies were kind of looking at. In my year, it was 45,000, the cutoff number for April, and in the previous year, the cutoff number was 50K. Yeah, so you can see that as you go further into the year, the numbers are, of course, the visa opportunities begin to diminish, but not until around June, because around June you start to see numbers getting closer to 60,000 around June of both these years. In June of our year, this year, it has been 57,000. In June of last year, it was 63,000, which was a little bit higher. Yeah. And now they've also published a visa bulletin for July. It's telling us it's going to be 67,500. And last year around this time, it was 63,500. So I don't know if this data can help you assess where you might be along the continuum of this long list of numbers. Yeah, but I would say what I failed to tell you guys is that last year there was a stagnation from, that is DV-2023, from June to August, they had the same cutoff number, which was 63,500, which means that there was no movement there, probably because they were still working on all of these visa applications that they were dealing with. And that year was very disappointing for a lot of people, because by September, guys, they had run out of all visas. First week of September, they didn't have visas, and they already had scheduled some people. Some people had already been scheduled for an interview. They never got the interview. And it was very disappointing, because remember, these are individuals who've done vaccinations, they've looked for all the paperwork, they've done everything. They were just waiting for their interview. And then at the last minute, they were told that there were no opportunities and no more visas. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that towards the end, it becomes very hectic. You know, when your cutoff number lies, that range, if your number fits within that range that is going towards July, August, that's the red zone. That's the red zone. So that's why in the Africa region, I would say, you know, if you want to be on the safe side, you want to have a number that is maybe 50K or 55K and under. So the minute you start going towards 60K and above, especially, I don't know what, I can't give an exact number, but I would just say, you know, 65K, you know, 70K, 80K, 100K. That's when the danger is. That's the danger. And guys, I also want to say, I'm not the expert on this, okay? I'm just saying based on what happened last year and also what's happening this year as I'm observing, looking at my data. So another thing that I haven't brought up, a factor that plays into this, guys, is the question of the embassy itself. So if you have an embassy that is not performing well, you're in deep trouble, for sure. An embassy that is not performing well is that it's moving very slowly, it has very limited slots, okay? And so while these other embassies are interviewing more people and giving them their visas or whatsoever might be happening, giving them visas or whatever other situation is going on, but they're doing something, then you have this other embassy that's not really working hard enough. I don't know what this scenario might be in a particular embassy that would lead to that, but we have seen that with the U.S. Embassy in Accra in Ghana, yeah, where you had a situation where fewer people were getting their visas. So if you compare with the Nairobi Embassy, for example, yeah, the same numbers. If you look at our numbers, those of us who went through the Nairobi Embassy, our numbers, some of us, or people went to the US so quickly, whereas the same category of numbers in Ghana, they were still in Ghana, hadn't had an interview. Yeah, so if you detect that maybe the embassy where your designated embassy, where you're supposed to be going for your interview, is at a very slow pace, you may need to make a quick decision to move your case to a different embassy that you think may be going quickly and where you're likely to get a visa to travel there. Maybe you know people, you have friends that can host you so that you can go in and possibly have an interview at that other embassy that makes you safer. That's something you could do. All right, guys, I hope this has helped you. If you're in this situation, I hope this video has helped you. I would definitely also urge you to go and watch Britt Simon's videos. He does excellent work, guys, on this topic. He's very good. He has all the data, the statistics. He can do a better interpretation than I would. I was just, you know, the layman trying to give a basic, simple explanation. But yeah, you could check he has a website called BrittSimonSays.com, and also I think he has a YouTube channel. Check it out. So in the meantime, I'm also going to look myself in and say, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. I'm always here doing videos on migration to the United States of America, and you may find my videos useful, helpful, especially if you're coming from the Africa region. So with that said, I want to say thank you so much. Subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.